GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered. And that's MVS and Justin Watson with some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues. If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up. Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow, comma, semicolon, period, next sentence, to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Is that yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
and Jay
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude,
he? How good is he?
JRich! What?
JRich! JRich! Baby, we have not had a lot to get excited about. It has been a rough season. But in the words of the former disgraced, or now disgraced, TV analyst Skip Bayless, how about them Cowboys, baby? Woo! Taking down them NFC South leading champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Leading.
We got our QB of the future. We got our wide receiver of the future. Defense is looking lights out. Man, JRich, I'm feeling good this morning, baby. A Christmas miracle was delivered down here in Dallas, man. Got us a damn dub, and I get to talk some shit before we get done with the show for the season. We got a dub, JRich. How you feeling this morning, baby?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, Ray. You know, the boys, they got it done. They got it done. I decided to surprise you today with the Micah, you know? And ironically enough, it was one Rachaad White getting the fumble. The running back that shouldn't have been running the ball is the one that ended the game, and the boys get it done, trying to be the best team in the NFC to not make the playoffs. Hurting that draft pick.
G-damn-P. It is Monday, December 23rd. I decided to wake y'all asses up with me, and y'all already saw my brother from another mother, JRich. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay. We appreciate each and every eye, each and every ear in the building. Got a couple of days until Santa Claus comes to town, so we're going to have some fun today. We just talking through all shit narrative. What's happened? What happened? How we feeling? Therapy session. Devon Achane absolutely crushed me. JRich, I was on my way to a BBM finals, and then Achane decides to go for like 50 yards and a TD, sending me home, man. But we appreciate everybody being here. It's been a fun season, talking through fantasy football every single week with y'all. And you know, we ain't going nowhere, but the season is coming to a close. And we won't have a show on Wednesday. No show on this Wednesday, Christmas Day. Spend time with your family and loved ones. I will be back on Friday, recapping everything that happened on Christmas Day and talking about all the upcoming games for the weekend. So make sure you pull up this Friday. I will still be here, and we going, baby. We don't slow down. We don't stop. JRich will be back next Monday, and we're going to do some good stuff. That's going to be our giveaway show. That's going to be the giveaway show. So there's going to be some instructions that get dropped later in the week. Make sure you pull up on Friday. We're giving away every last one of these new. I got them all in the bin, Jay. All these new era hats, they got to go, baby. All the new era hats got to go. We got some other stuff we're going to give away, so we're going to do that next Monday, which is what, the 31st, last day of the year? Giving shit away last day of the
30th.
Year, December 30th? 30th, 31st? All right, cool, man. Appreciate everybody being in the building. Make sure you pull up. Scott Connor dropped his tight end series on the roster construction, talking about the tight end position. If you've missed any of the parts of his series and you're trying to figure out how to build a good fantasy football roster, I highly encourage you, go back, check out those episodes live now on the Destination Devy podcast radio feed. Tap into that. And Jay, I got to give a shout out, man. My niece and nephew down in Houston were watching us, man. They're watching the show.
Oh,
They're
really?
young kids.
Wow.
My sister sent the video. They were watching, so I got to give them some love this morning. So Noel and Ethan.
Better clean it up, too.
Uncle, I know. I hope they don't watch the beginning. Noel and Ethan, Uncle Chris loves you. Thank you for your support, and y'all better be subscribed to the damn show, too. Mama better have y'all subscribed to the show. So shout out to my niece and nephew. Jay, how you doing, baby? A lot of talking from old GQ this morning. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I, lost a couple bets, and but
you
we
did
lived
lose a
to
bet
fight another
now.
day.
You
Lose a bet.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but I was curious if you were
yeah.
even going to acknowledge the fact that you lost that Penix versus Anthony Richardson bet, eh?
I mean, when you got a 240-pound running back that can also throw the ball 50% of the time to the same team that he's playing for, and you got a tight end on your roster who is trying to sabotage the team, helping his quarterback throw interceptions by giving it to the other team, and Drew Lock, man, throwing pick sixes like his life depends on it. So it wasn't a great day for Michael Penix,
and yet
because he didn't have to do anything.
You lose your bet, and you still do not pay your dues. You don't pay you don't pay your bets. I mean, but that's okay.
So
the people know. What'd you say?
So you say.
Oh,
so you say. Maybe if you get into the news, you go to the porch. Maybe you'll find a surprise for you.
Go to the porch.
Maybe. It's
Did
early.
You pay your bet, JRich?
It's early, but people still got to work, right?
Well, let's we got some news. Let's get to the news.
We can talk through the devastating injury news that is rocking the chat right now.
Oh man, Jay, go ahead. I'm going full screen. Let me see what you got at the front door. Go ahead, get into it, man. Get into it, Jay. Go ahead. What we got?
All right, so we will start off with the biggest injury of the weekend, Jalen Hurts' concussion, where he suffered in the first quarter, did not return. And ultimately, the Eagles lost the game. The Commanders came back somehow and won this game. Such a back-and-forth affair, but Hurts, obviously, whether you even made it through to the fantasy championships or not, his status is now very much in question for this game. Now, we've seen the NFL has been a little back and forth when it comes to concussions. A player like Jalen Hurts might clear concussion protocol, but we'll have to wait and see if you even made it that far. James Conner also suffered a knee injury, and we're not sure if he's going to be available for this week as well. Drake London, hamstring injury, was held out of the game late in the fourth quarter, so he didn't play anymore, but the game was also out of hand. He could potentially return, but could also be held out as well. Kenneth Walker suffered an ankle sprain. I mean, this guy just stays injured.
Dude.
And his status is very much in doubt now, Ray, because the Seahawks play the Bears on Thursday Night Football. So short week, very limited rest for them. And Tank Dell out indefinitely after his kneecap dislocation, one of the more gruesome injuries we've seen. We don't know what the status of him is, whether it's very long-term or into next season. But as for now, he's out indefinitely, going to be out for the season for sure. And we also had some college football playoff games, Ray. Some of them were good. Most of them were not good. Texas versus Arizona State in the quarterfinals. Texas beat Clemson 38-24. Ohio State stomped Tennessee 42-17. They're going to play Oregon. Penn State, as I predicted, one of the few predictions I got right, stomped SMU, and they will play Boise State, and they're massive favorites too. You know, that Ashton Genty's got his work cut out for him against Penn State. And Notre Dame beat Indiana in was a disgusting game, but it was one of the more close affairs between them, and they will take on Georgia, who will also be without Carson Beck. He was already ruled out for that game.
Wait, no Carson Beck?
Carson Beck is ruled out. Yep. He's trying to get that medical red shirt, right, so he can come back.
Oh, man. Yeah, the college football playoff games, they were
brutal.
They were exciting because it was cool to see teams get the home field playoff advantage. That was really cool. I mean, even
it felt
the
like
Ohio
a massive
State game,
advantage, right?
The first game ever played at that stadium, at Buckeye Stadium, in December ever. Like, there's never been a game played.
Oh, wow.
Like, teams aren't playing right now, right? And when they do play at this stage, it's at some neutral site for a bowl game. You know, the Tostitos whatever bowl, or this bowl, or the Mighty Key Care Bowl, whatever it is. I think the environments, the home field advantage, that was really cool to see that play out. You know, everybody down in Austin and having all those people there. I thought the environment and the way they've set this up is going to work. I think there need to be some tweaks to the seating and to how I'm going to be a lot more invested in this next year about how the seating is going to work out, because the pathway to Texas getting there is so clear, just very clear, very easy for them. Some of those other games, SMU stunk it up. Not good for those smaller mid-major programs, right? Indiana.
And getting in following years, right? Bringing SMU in over Alabama, like it's easy to say is Alabama going to put up a better fight than SMU.
SEC Tennessee got their shit kicked in too, and they weren't very good either. So here we are. It's a playoff. It was fun, and I'm excited for the semifinals or quarterfinals. Where are we at? Quarterfinals, semifinals,
Even I got that a little bit confused.
Yeah, no, they got to get through the quarterfinals first. But yeah, let's talk about the injuries really quickly. Tank Dell, the injury that he suffered, man. Prayers up for Tank. That was brutal. If you've got a squeamish stomach, don't slow that down and look at it in slow motion. But this is what 3 sort of traumatic leg injuries he's had happen in the last 18 months. The fractured fibula, I believe, then the gunshot wound, and now the dislocated kneecap and whatever additional injuries may or may not be present with that. Hoping for the best for Tank Dell. It was clear, he and CJ Stroud very close. That was just a rough thing. You don't ever want to see that in a game, and it was unfortunate for a player that we all like, and he did that scoring a touchdown. He still led the team in yards and receptions as well. So had a big fantasy day for you. If you lost Tank Dell, hopefully his performance helped you get to the fantasy championships. But want him to be well, want him to play better, Jay. I think the biggest game on the weekend, though, that we were looking forward to, fantasy implications, all of that stuff, Jay, was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. That game, JD5 versus Jalen Hurts. Watching those two teams go at it, watching those two players go at it. You got Saquon in the game. It was a damn good game. Washington wins the game 36-33. There was a lot of stuff that happened inside of the game. The game inside of the game, you talked about it. Jalen Hurts was injured early in that one. Finished 1 for 4 for 11 yards, 3 carries, 41 yards, and was injured on that long scramble. If you were relying on Jalen Hurts to get you there, it didn't happen. It did not happen. It wasn't anything due to him, but that's just the way the chips fall, right? He did not get it done for you. Didn't get a chance to play. Kenny Pickett came in, threw for $143, took 3 sacks, got the ball to A.J. Brown a couple of times, but ultimately this was about Saquon Barkley. His dominance on the ground from the Philadelphia side, 29 carries, 150 yards for Bell Cow Barkley, giving the cow horn, 2 touchdowns in the game. Also dropped what would have been like a 30-yard reception too. That would have helped pad the stats. But Philly blew this one, Jay. That was the big. This wasn't like Washington turned the ball over 5 times and still won the game. So just talk about this one. Does this make you feel any different about Philadelphia and their team moving forward defensively? They just got wrecked, man. This was a defense that was one of the best in the NFL over the last 8-9 weeks, and Jaden Daniels, and it wasn't like they did anything on the ground from the running back because B-Rob didn't do a damn thing. He had like 20 rushing yards. It was all JD5. It was all Jaden Daniels. Robinson fumbled twice. Daniels threw 2 picks. Just talk about this one, man.
Yeah, I think it's a multitude of things. You bring up the defense, right? And I think one of the things that people kind of forget sometimes about the defense is that they're also really helped by the offense. When you have Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley making these plays, having these long sustained drives, keeping them off the field, that helps the defense get additional rest. And when you have Kenny Pickett out there going 3 and out or shorter drives and not moving the ball down the field, it makes them play more snaps. And ultimately, especially against a team like Washington, who's going to speed you up, who's going to play fast, it makes things much more difficult for you defensively. And I think that's kind of the big thing for Philly now is, 1, you're not fearing what they can do offensively as much with Kenny Pickett. And 2, the defense is on the field more than they would have been previously. I think that's the biggest factor. I didn't think Kenny Pickett played awful, especially of kind of what I expected from him. But you looked at, the drop from Saquon Barkley wasn't really determining the game.
No.
The drop from Devontae Smith late in the game
that
could
was
have
the drop.
ended the game. And especially when Kenny Pickett really did put it on the money in stride, like that could have ended the game and really won it for them. Washington, as you mentioned, somehow came away with the win. It was sloppy on both sides, turnovers on both sides. But yeah, 5 from the Commanders and still came out with the win. It's difficult to not look at Philly and say what happens from here. But the thing for them that's great is that they're kind of locked into the 2 seed right now. They already have 12 wins.
There's still a shot.
2 or not.
Yeah,
there's a shot, but because Minnesota has to play Detroit, one of those teams is going to get the 1 seed. The other one is going to be the 5 seed, and so that won't impact the seeding of this. But then the other who's the other team who can catch them then? It'd be
I think it's Minnesota, Detroit, and Philly all still there. It's just those 3 teams.
Yeah, but Minnesota, Detroit, one will be 5, and then I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
Washington's not going to catch them, I don't think. But I guess if they lose 2, maybe there's a chance Washington can pass them. I don't think they will.
No.
They got to win 1. They're kind of like in the Chiefs right now. They win 1 game and they're good.
Yeah, that drop by Devontae Smith was brutal. I mean, that was a first down that keeps the chains moving, puts him in field goal
And when your
range.
backup's in, you need to make those plays.
Yeah.
Like your offense has to step up, and they didn't, in my opinion.
You see the graphic right here on the screen. Saquon Barkley, 1,838 yards on the season. They've got 2 games left. He needs 268 to break the record, 134 per game. Can Saquon do it? Does he do it? They gave him 29 carries in this one, and I don't think it was because they were trying to get him the record. But when you have Kenny Pickett at quarterback, you kind of got to change your plan. You think Saquon gets it?
100%, Ray.
You think so?
Because not just does he play the Cowboys next week, but he plays the Giants to break the record in Week 18.
Yeah.
And is at home. So both games are at home, right? Which is sick.
Yeah.
But he could easily go for 100 against the Cowboys. And then he'd need, the 150, 160.
160.
Hopefully it's less than that. Hopefully it's less than that. And it's just a quick in and out for him, and they kind of get out of there. But I think there is concerns. Like, you looked at how the Cowboys played last night. Maybe they can beat Philly when Kenny Pickett is a starter, if Kenny Pickett is a starter, to where they have to win against the Giants. But yeah, I think that the narrative really is Saquon will break the record against the Giants at home in Week 18. And he can definitely do that for sure.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that they've got the Giants in Week 18.
Yeah.
I don't care if he needed 200 yards to get it. They are probably going to do what is necessary in order to get Saquon Barkley that record. The record, for those wondering, 2,105 yards by Eric Dickerson. I believe Adrian Peterson came up. How many yards short was AP in 2012 in his MVP season? I think he was a few yards away from it. I think one more carry, Adrian Peterson would have broken it that year that he won.
What's the record? He had almost 2,100 yards.
AP? 2105. Yeah. 2105 was the record.
Wow, I think he had 2097. So he literally was 7 yards or 8 yards short.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was less than 10 yards away from the record.
Ridiculous.
That one more carry, and he would have broken the record.
350 carries, though.
What'd you say?
350 carries for AP that season.
Yeah, they loaded old Peterson up. What's Saquon got on the season? He's got 314, so he's going to be close to that. He's got 314.
If he wants to break it, he'll probably.
He's going to be close to that 350 carry mark as well. So that was Philadelphia. That was Washington. You didn't quite. I mean, the players who let you down. B-Rob, if you started him,
B-Rob was the loan, I think.
Yeah,
McLaurin scored. Smitty was fine.
Smitty,
AJ scored.
Yeah, he was fine. 6 for 51. That's like a Devontae Smithy line. You hope he would have got another catch or scored. And then McLaurin, another touchdown. I remember us talking about starting Terry McLaurin or somebody. Somebody asked that question, and we said, you play Terry McLaurin. If you started him, that was good. 5 for 16, a touchdown. He got the job done for you in that matchup. But you talked about the aforementioned Dallas Cowboys, Jay. Let's just pull up the old feed, man. Cowboys were eliminated from playoff contention, but the headline on JRich, on ESPN, Jay, let me read this headline to you. Eliminated Cowboys flex their pride, in quotes, beat Bucks. They showed great pride, and you see the trolls, the Dallas Cowboys, when there's absolutely nothing at stake, locked the F in. I mean, Cooper Rush was out there looking like he was the second coming of Peyton Manning. JRich, 26-24. Cooper Rush, 26 for 35. An efficient night. 1 sack, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Rico Dowdle, I mean, I know we know. A sad trombone. I know you start Rico Dowdle no matter what. It's Dowdle. Man, 13 for 23. He also had 3 for 28. He absolutely wrecked you. So apologies for that one, JRich. Rico Dowdle did not do a damn thing in this matchup. CeeDee Lamb
Zeke got that touchdown. That didn't help either.
Dude. Zeke, 1 carry, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. Like, what are we doing?
Big 6.1 fantasy points from Zeke. And I think you look at what Rico did, he basically did the same points
from Zeke Elliott, a wasted 6. Yeah, the Cowboys, man. The Cowboys got a dub. They are eliminated from the playoffs. They played good. They played good defense, man. Interceptions. CeeDee Lamb was dope once again. Over 1,000 yards, well over 1,000 yards, over 100 receptions. So even on a bad year or a down year. CeeDee Lamb still showing that he is one of the league's best, JRich. And I don't know if you saw that catch where he, over number 27, CeeDee is just incredible. Just an incredible.
Wasn't that a push-off, though?
It was
Nice
a little
play,
pushy. It was
that was when he hurt his shoulder, right?
Yeah, that was
right
the one
when
where
he
he
went
hurt his
down.
shoulder. It was a slight push
that
off.
was rough.
There was definitely some push off there. Bucky Irving, 16 for 68. Jay, on the season, this young rookie running back, 920 yards, 7 touchdowns on the season for Bucky. And I was thinking about you watching this game because the announcers were talking about just how good Bucky Irving's missed tackle forced rate is. Just leading the NFL in missed tackles, forcing missed tackles. And this was something, Jay, that he was very good at the University of Oregon. So this isn't just us throwing this out here, right? This is what Bucky Irving did at Oregon, was make people miss tackles. Jay, this is Ashton Jeanty. I mean, Ashton Jeanty has doubled up missed tackles forced in college. Like, there's nobody forcing more missed tackles than Ashton Jeanty. So my thing to you, man, is I know you are calling him the Mountain West Brian Robinson, but I believe that this type of skill set translates, man. When you can make people miss tackles, make defenders miss, like, that shit translates, Jay. And I think you ought to be careful talking about old Ashton Jeanty in those disparaging ways that you do, because this is going to translate. Being able to make defenders miss will translate at the next level. And Bucky's a top 10 dynasty running back right now, according to KTC. People love him, and he's incredible, man. Incredible. 22 years old, 5'10", 200 pounds, just acceleration juice. Very good player, man.
So where did Bucky Irving go to college? And where was he drafted? Was he like a 3rd or 4th rounder? And I believe he went to Oregon, right?
Yeah,
the number one team in the country, who, they play in the Big Ten now, played in the Pac-12 last year. Very strong, talented Pac-12, with a lot of NFL talent on there in the Pac-12 rosters.
Where are we going?
Versus an Ashton Jeanty playing in the Mountain West, right? Playing against players that probably are never making it to the NFL. They're going to be working at CVS. They're going to be sending you your Topo Chicos when I lose bets to you. Let's just be honest about the competition.
Before you say something blasphemous, let me give you your props.
No, Jeanty's very good.
JRich, you did honor your bet. I went to the front door. You did honor your bet. We
Boom.
got not just one case.
Not one.
Man.
Not one. That was so wrong. I had to send you two.
We got two. We got 2 cases of Topo. JRich, you paid your bet. You're a good man with me, man. Thank you, JRich. Merry Christmas to you. And I got a bet. I got a bet that I've got to pay up soon, too, because Lad McConkey is 100% going to outproduce Josh Palmer, so you'll get an extra $100. I think we bet 100 on that.
Nice.
I think it was a monetary bet. You didn't want any damn Topos. Yeah. You just wanted the cash. So I'll send that to you, American or Canadian, but I got you, man. Thank you for honoring that bet.
I would definitely prefer the American, to be honest.
American, Canadian, however you want it. Let us know, Jay. Where we going, man? What do the people want to talk about? Let's go to chat. Let's see what the people are talking. Who we got in the damn building this morning? We didn't even shout out the people in the building. My goodness. Garrison in here. Cash Me Out. Alex. Colin in the building. I see Jake. Richard Campbell. GMGP to you, Richard. I am a little bit late, but you got the Cowboys mask on, so I gotta put you up on the screen. Abdul Carter. I keep talking about him. I keep saying it, Jay.
You're very right about Abdul Carter. Ray, I'm wearing the jersey right now.
You got the Abdul Carter jersey on right now. He is going to be an absolute monster off of the edge. Should be a locked and loaded top 5 pick. Should be a locked and loaded top 5 pick in the draft. Brenton Strange, you ruined me. Yeah, who heard it for you?
Who was it who pumped up Brenton Strange? Was that me? Not that Pat Freiermuth is any better, but
who pumped up?
I don't know why he didn't get the ball. That was like kind of crazy.
Yeah, how about them Cowboys? You goddamn right, Richard. Let them know. How about them, right? Playing with pride and grit, dropping from the top 10 NFL draft picks. We'll end up in the 20s, Jay. We'll get a good pick in the 20s. I'm happy about that.
Thankfully for you can't, because of all the playoff seeds that are available.
Oh, gosh.
Worst spot for you is 18,
said, any Tim Patrick updates? Any Tim Patrick updates?
Man. Tim Patrick, I honestly don't even think he caught a pass in this game. I'll have to check.
Josh says
definitely not
100
much.
in Bitcoin. That Bitcoin is taking a tumble right now. Listen, we're just going. I see a lot of stuff we need to address in the chat. Dirty Bird has Sam Darnold up. How about the Vikings? I think we need to talk about JT is on here. Bucky. Yep. Oh, yeah, the bad combine. Wait till we get to combine season. Can't wait for that. I'm going to ask a question, okay? I'm just asking, okay? I know where they drafted him. I'm asking, folks. Are you sure? You'd bet your mortgage, bet your life on it, JRich. Right now, people in the chat, wake up family, that Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings are going to turn away from Sam Darnold in 2025 and hand the keys over to J.J. McCarthy. Sam Darnold, 27-24. Vikings, 13-2 right now. Darnold was 22 for 35, 250, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. The throw to Justin Jefferson, I mean,
ballin'.
Sam, I am. Listen, Jay, 6th in the NFL in yards, 5th in touchdowns, only 11 interceptions, and 13th in QBR. He's 27 years old. Are we sure, 1,000%, he doesn't lead them to he takes them to the NFC Championship game?
Okay.
Let's say they lose it.
Okay.
But he takes them to the NFC title game. Are we sure that Sam Darnold is cast off next year, kicked to the wind to go play somewhere else? Are you confident in that?
So here's my issue, Ray, is that the path to Sam Darnold being a quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings next year, I think the only way that happens is if they franchise him, right? Because if they don't franchise him, someone's going to give him at least $40 million. I don't think the Vikings are going to do that. Like, they're not going to match that offer. Okay. They're not going to give him that contract. I just don't think that's going to happen. Unless for some reason things changed and they were all in on re-signing Darnold, giving him the deal and all that stuff. But after drafting JJ, it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And especially with where Sam Darnold was at, why are we now not cashing in on what we're going to get and what will be a compensation pick for Sam Darnold? They're obviously not going to trade him because he's going to be a free agent. But, like, they've shown what they can do with Sam Darnold, who was basically left for dead in some respects.
Oh, yeah.
To now, he is a starting caliber quarterback, $40 million. And let's not forget, they do have Daniel Jones on the roster as well. And maybe they're grooming him to be the next Sam Darnold. Now, it will be JJ's team. At least that's how we project it. But maybe he's the guy they're going to take on.
But that's what I'm asking. Is it going to be JJ's team?
I don't think it's going to be JJ's team for sure, but I don't think it's going to be Sam Darnold's team unless they franchise him. Do you feel like it's any different the way it plays out?
I'm reading the chat, and I think I agree a lot with the chat that I don't think Minnesota really knows yet.
Yeah, I don't think they know too. There's a lot to figure out.
I don't think they know.
They could just as easily lose to Detroit and then go to LA and lose again. That could happen.
Right.
And then Sam Darnold has to go. Yeah, he's not a winning quarterback, right?
So there's a lot of ways ball, man. All I'm doing, I'm not saying that he's the next superstar. I'm not saying he deserves the job. I'm not saying this is what Minnesota should do. He's playing damn good ball, man. He's playing.
Hey, that's one of their 2 losses.
What?
At LA. That's one of the Vikings' 2 losses this year. The other one was, of course, to Detroit, but that's the other one. You know, they got the 2 losses. It's the Lions game in Minnie and then at LA. But they could go to Tampa or Atlanta as well.
This is fascinating to me because, so Joe, what's up, Joe? Joe said, trade JJ to my low Raiders. We out of the Shador Award sweepstakes. JJ is still not healthy. Jason, how do you know this? How do you know
now,
this?
He's not healthy right now.
Was there something? Okay, well, yeah, probably not right now. Here's the thing. You don't want to get in Atlanta Falcons territory. And we're going to talk about Michael Penix, but you don't want to pay Darnold all this money. He turns into a pumpkin, and then halfway through 2025, you're like, all right, let's turn it over to McCarthy. Maybe this is a world. Does he take the Jordan Love approach? Do they give Darnold a 2-year deal and say, hey, we're going to run this back with you a couple of more years, let JJ sit? I don't know.
The problem was Jordan Love, I believe, got his 5th-year option declined, but had another year on his contract still. So he signed the 2-year deal, and it was like a 1-and-1, And I think they even ripped up the one after they saw it. So it was like his third season. They declined a fifth-year option. They gave him the 2-year deal to basically buy out the last year for a cheaper price. And then they obviously re-signed him. But I think if you're Sam Darnold at this point, there are 2 or 3 teams. And I think now you look to the Raiders winning. The Raiders are even in the Sam Darnold sweepstakes potentially because they're not in the
I need the OC, though. I don't just need Darnold. I need Darnold in the infrastructure that's around Sam Darnold. He's got great weapons. He's got a great head coach. They have a great game plan, and he's got a fantastic defense to put him in opportune situations.
But how many situations like that are in the NFL?
I need the Sitcho.
I'd say
I don't just need
3
Darnold.
or 4.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 or 4. Like you'd probably say Detroit, obviously Minnesota. Who else? Maybe Philly, I guess, is probably up there. San Francisco isn't that good, but maybe San Francisco could make a move.
Josh said another NFL team will pay Darnold more than the Vikings are willing to.
Yeah, I think that's the problem for them. His value is too high right now.
We say that, but I don't know. Like it's not. This is the Vikings' best start since I believe 1990 something, like 98, 99. You don't just accidentally roll into 13 wins. You don't just accidentally lead the league, be top 5 in the league in yards and touchdowns. I think for us, because they drafted J.J. McCarthy and there is some rookie hopium bias, I don't know if you just easily replicate this and you just say, we'll put McCarthy in and let Sam Darnold walk. That'd be an easy decision and we'll just roll it with this essentially rookie quarterback. I don't know if it works that way. I don't know if it's quite.
You're betting on the roster, right? That's the bet they made already. Was they're like, we'll have Sam Darnold for a year. Yep. We'll go to JJ next year after he got hurt. Like that's kind of what's the plan because when you're paying him,
we'll go to
15, 20 million.
The narrative is we'll go to JJ McCarthy in week 6. We'll go to JJ in week 4 when the Vikings are 0-3, when they're 0-7, and right now they're 13-2, and I think they are playing. We had this conversation on Friday. You asked me if Philly and Minnesota went head-to-head, who would win. I think the Vikings would. Would beat them. Would. I said that before Hurts went down.
I don't agree with you, but but yeah, with Hurts being hurt, then yeah, they're going to beat them, obviously.
Yeah. All right, we got to talk Penix. We got to talk Michael Penix, JRich. We got to talk Penix.
Kyle Pitts,
I think we've got to talk a little Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is not happy right now. We got to talk a little G-Dub. Got to talk a little Bryce Young, a little Drake May, a little Josh Allen, some MVP odds, number 1 overall pick. What have the Raiders done? What have the Raiders done? My God, JRich. We're going to do this right after the break. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. We'll be right back after the break. Appreciate y'all pulling up. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay right here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during the NFL season. We appreciate you tapping in. If you're new, hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check out the Destination Devy podcast radio feed. Scott Connor dropped part 4 of his roster construction series, talking through the tight end position. JRich's favorite, and we're going to talk about one of his favorite tight ends right now, Kyle Pitts. So if you want to learn how to build a better fantasy roster, go to DD Radio right now, subscribe, and check out Destination Dynasty with the GOAT, Scott Connor himself.
Yes, sir.
Jay, Mr. Durag Swag, Michael Penix Jr. got his shot to start for the Atlanta Falcons. It was a storyline and narrative we've been talking about all season. Was Penix going to play? Are they going to play him? Are they not going to play him? There's no way. Kirk Cousins, yada, 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 all this stuff.
Michael Penix. Huh?
Well, yeah, I know. Michael Penix was in. He took over for Kirk Cousins. And the Atlanta Falcons, Jay, they got a dub. They beat the New York Giants 34-7. Michael Penix was 18 for 27, 202 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and no sacks in the game. He ran the ball 4 times for 3 yards. That is not his calling card. Falcons got it done. Bijan, 2 big touchdowns on the day. Talked about Drake London getting injured in that game. Was playing well early in that one. He and Darnell Mooney, as they have done all year, led the way. Kyle Pitts, with his new quarterback change, gave us the same type of production. 1 for 7. Jake, there are a couple of things I want to talk about from this game.
Such an idiot.
There are a couple of games. There are a couple of things. We want to talk about Michael Penix. I want to talk about Kyle Pitts. Then I want to talk about Malik Neighbors. So let's start with Michael Penix.
Okay.
I thought he played very well. The numbers may not reflect it. The counting stats, the fantasy points. We talked about this. Do not start Michael Penix this week. And we were right. Do not start him. Can't start him. The zip on the ball was noticeable. The downfield accuracy was noticeable. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked good for his first performance. And that interception was totally not his fault. That was all Kyle Pitts. I thought Penix played very well, and I'm excited to see him throughout the rest of the season. This looks like it may work. I don't know who they play next week and the week after, but there you go. They are now currently leading the NFC South with the loss of Tampa Bay. Talk about your thoughts with Michael Penix. What'd you see? How do you feel? What'd it look like?
I mean, right off the bat, you kind of hit the nail on the head. He can actually throw the ball sideline to sideline, and that was the most refreshing part. When you see him just consistently hitting these out routes to Darnell Mooney, it's like, okay, like this is a real quarterback that is making throws at the NFL level that we haven't seen from the Falcons. And then you look to where he made some mistakes. There's a time where he tried to step in the pocket, hesitated for half a second, boom, it counted as a rushing attempt, but was sacked by Thibodeau coming around on the backside. And then you look to just all the plays that he made that the team kind of let him down. Couple drops early in the game. Couple things didn't really go his way. And then obviously the Kyle Pitts thing. Should have probably had a touchdown or two in this game, so I wouldn't really look to touchdowns too much. But then you look to the other side as well. Drew Lock playing absolutely abysmal. 2 pick sixes, throwing the ball over the place. They lose good on the first drive. After that, it was just about over for them, and the game was done, so Penix didn't have to do a lot. But I thought he showed what talent he has and what could be. The problem, as you mentioned, is the schedule. He's got to play the Commanders, and I believe that game is on the road, and then he has to play Carolina to close out the season, which early on seemed like a gimme, but Penix versus Bryce Young, that's a more interesting matchup, I think, today than it was early on in the season. So I would expect them to lose to the Commanders, at which point we probably see the division flip once again, but they're in the hunt. They're leading the division right now, and I thought Penix looked pretty good.
I thought he did too. And, that was his first start. First full week of getting the starters allotment of practice reps and snaps during the week. It wasn't a great defense that he went up against, but I thought he played well. He didn't look like a fish out of water. It didn't look like the moment was too big for him. He stood in the pocket and threw the ball with accuracy, with command. I'm excited to see that thing materialize for the rest of the season. His pass catchers, on the other hand, Kyle Pitts, what a fall from rookie year excitement. 1,000-yard rookie season. It feels like eons ago that Kyle Pitts was the second coming of whomever we thought he was going to be.
Jeremy Shockey.
Whoever it was, Jay. This season, right now, Kyle Pitts is on pace to have an even worse year than he did with Desmond Ridder at the helm. He's got 543 yards, 66 targets, 41 receptions, 3 touchdowns for Kyle Pitts. On his career, JRich, for 4 years in the NFL, still is yet to eclipse over 10 total touchdowns. Total. 9 TDs in 4 years for Kyle Pitts.
Unicorn, they said.
He's still 24 years old. This just feels like one of those things where he's going to have to flourish elsewhere. He's still 24. We saw it with Evan Ingram. We've seen tight ends move situations. He's got to go. He's got to go somewhere else. What a bust. It has not worked out for Pitts in the way that we've thought. He needs a new situation change. What do you think about your boy Kyle Pitts?
You really think it's the situation?
You have been.
This is what's holding him back. Is the situation?
You have been right. No,
multiple OCs.
No. Not like the situation is holding him back, but a change of scenery. Maybe that's a better way of framing it. A change of scenery might be nice for Kyle Pitts, but this is a player. I give you credit. For 3 years, you have said no to Kyle Pitts, and you have been 10 toes down. No to Kyle Pitts at all costs. My friend, you have been right.
I mean, it's weird, and I can't really make sense of it. The initial part, and this is where, I don't want to make the comparisons too much, because I did on the show a few weeks ago, and I said it jokingly, but it does matter when you have a wide receiver who is a talented wide receiver come in and play next to a good tight end, right? And The Drewski memes.
Come
the Drewski
on.
memes have been flying lately. But yeah, so your point about Kyle Pitts doesn't even change the scenery. The problem is, though, is you have Arthur Smith telling us that Kyle Pitts is no good by playing Jonnu Smith over him. We have multiple OCs. The only player who's ever really unlocked him and played well was when he was by himself and he had Matt Ryan as his quarterback before Matt Ryan was completely cooked. And that's the biggest issue is even, Kirk's been bad, but he's been able to support Drake London, support Darnell Mooney. Even Ray McLeod at times has been a better player than Kyle Pitts and shown more than Kyle Pitts. But Kyle Pitts did get his fifth-year option picked up by the Falcons. So he will be there next year, unfortunately, for $10 million. But yeah, he's definitely been a bust so far. The question is, Ray, that I think is so interesting, is that we all should be wondering who's going to end up with Kyle Pitts because he is a tremendous talent. Should he be utilized in an offense? And the way he's playing right now, I think just about every team in the NFL could be looking to sign him, and kind of what is that price? Like, where would you want to see Kyle Pitts go to kind of flourish in the NFL? Because I have no idea what the right fit would even be.
Anywhere, man. Highest drafted tight end in NFL history. Over Jamar Chase, over Penei Sewell. I don't know. I'm not about to sit here and talk about tight end situations and landing spots. All I'm going to say is I believe a change of scenery might be good for old Kyle Pitts because it has not been fruitful for us or for him, JRich. It's not been good. It's not been good. Real quick though, other side of the ball, quickly. Malik Neighbors, okay. Neighbors had another. He's doing the best he can in this offensive environment.
He had 14 targets in this game. Holy shit.
I mean, Malik is going to get the targets, man. He's going to get the targets. Right now in the season, Malik Neighbors, 97 receptions, 5th in the NFL, 969 yards, 14th in the NFL, and 4 touchdowns. Jay, there was a comment in the chat from Greg, and I appreciated this from Greg because we do try, right? We put in the work and we try in here, okay? And Greg says, Ray never victory laps. That's a lie. I do sometimes, but thank you. I try to be humble or at least give the perception of humility at times. But he was in on Bucky way before most people. And that was true.
You were.
We get a lot of shit for the calls we get wrong, right? And my biggest one was the 5 years ago, Jalen Reagor, right? That was the big call, Jalen right? Reagor. Which the funny thing is everybody else liked him too, but I was the loudest, right? I was the loudest. But when we do get stuff right, man, like we fucking nail it. And one of the players that we were right about the entire process from the start of the rookie draft season until all the way through the season, beginning of the season, we never wavered, was one Brian Thomas Jr. BTJ on the season, fewer receptions than Malik Neighbors, 97 receptions for Neighbors, 73 for Brian Thomas Jr. BTJ is 6th in the NFL with 1,088 receiving yards, playing with Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones. And I know Neighbors' situation is just is arguably even worse, right? But he's getting all the targets. He's got 9 TDs, which is 5th in the NFL. If I had to ask you right now, would you prefer Brian Thomas Jr. or Malik Neighbors moving forward in Dynasty Fantasy Football? Which one would you rather have?
I mean, I think the answer probably should be Brian Thomas, but we all know that Malik has an extremely high ceiling. Like, the talent is definitely there. Whether they can get him the ball down the field is another conversation, but the talent is there. He still has more yards than Ladd McConkey. He's got 154 targets in only 13 games. Brian Thomas has played 15 games. So on a per game average, he's still averaging more yards per game than Brian Thomas and Brock Bowers. The issue really is that he's still not getting into the end zone, which we've seen of the likes of a Terry McLaurin, right? DJ Moore for his seasons where he had poor quarterback play. So it's how do they get him the ball down the field and who's going to get him the ball down the field? That's the biggest question. Is it Shador or is it Cam Ward? And I think the answer for now is BTJ because Trevor Lawrence is going to chuck it down the field. And even Mac Jones is getting the ball down the field.
Brian Thomas Jr. is great. I mean, he is. I'm trying to still figure out what he is, who he compares to, the play style. I don't know. Because he's got this speed to get downfield.
Would you say he's like a bigger Mike Wallace? He reminds me a lot of Mike Wallace, the way he just gets down the field.
No. Much. Mike Wallace could do one thing and one thing well, and that was run straight down the field. That's what he did. That is not Brian Thomas Jr. I'm struggling to pinpoint who he is, what he is, but right now I'll just say this: if you were in on Neighbors as the top dog, and I could send you my Malik Neighbors and get back Brian Thomas plus, I would do that 10 out of 10 times. He's that.
But do you think you could, though? I don't think you could.
I don't know if you can or can't. That's why I asked the question.
Right?
Which one would you prefer? This is a good rookie receiver class. You know, I'll say this right now. Moving into this 2025 season, there are more rumors and reports that Travis Hunter is going to declare and test and work as a cornerback. That is starting to heat up. So it's looking like, at least for now, Hunter's going to declare, work, and operate as a corner, yet probably going to play on the offensive side of the ball too. I don't know if you caught Deion Sanders. I mean, he flat out said it. Prime in an interview, whether he was supposed to or not, said Travis is going to play corner, but he's also going to be on your spread packages on offense, playing some slot receiver. You've got Emeka Egbuka, which we saw him play a little bit in the college football playoffs, going to be a quality good receiver. I think he's a power slot in the mold of a Rashee Rice. You've got Tet McMillan, big play, Brandon Marshall, Mike Evans, Drake London type wide receiver. I'm not as high on Luther Burden. We did get A.O. Manor from Stanford declare. I think he's going to be a top 5 receiver. I did not think the Stanford kid A.O. Manor was going to declare, but we got that declaration for him. Worthy, BTJ, Lad McConkey, Malik Neighbors, like Worthy got in the mix this weekend, and I have preached patience with Worthy. You got to follow the fucking dots. Trust the Trinity. I've continued to tell people, don't panic on X Worthy. Like, he got put in a spot where he probably shouldn't have been early this season, but once Mahomes got it going, you saw what happened with X Worthy. Rome Odunze in on the action. This was a great rookie receiver class. And at the end of this year, if I can get one of Ladd, one of Xavier Worthy, a Brian Thomas Jr., one of these guys to kind of replenish and retool, I'm doing it, man. I am doing it like clockwork. I mean, this is it's a very good wide receiver class that we got from the rookies. And
very good.
You don't have to guess. Like, we built a tool that's the best thing out there, and it's told you all season. Worthy is far from a bum. He's not exploding like we want, but you look at what he's done since week 11, his usage is higher than Marvin Harrison, higher than Rome Odunze. He's right there in that range in which you want your dynasty wide receivers to be. Buy into these guys when they're being utilized and the team is telling you it's a good class. And in the receiver class this upcoming 2025, it's weak. If I had to say, everyone's talking about the QB position, I think the QBs are fine. You get a couple of QBs every year. We got 2 QBs that are going to be in the mix in Shedeur and Cam Ward. The tight ends are loaded. The running backs are disgusting. The Senior Bowl lineup is ridiculous. The weak point is wide receiver. And with Trav potentially playing more corner, make sure you get one of these 24 guys before it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, Ray, you kind of talked about it. It's funny how, a few weeks ago we talked about Marv versus Rome, and you didn't even mention Marv. You talked about all these good receivers in the class. Didn't mention Marvin Harrison Jr. even once in that whole spiel. But yeah, Rome and Marv continue to be neck and neck, and this is, the redshirt year for Rome Odunze, and it just makes me wonder, like, why on earth would I consider taking Rome Odunze over Marvin Harrison Jr., or taking Marv over Rome right now? 51 receptions apiece, 100 targets for Marv, 95 for Rome. Like, their numbers are basically near identical in terms of yards, who are 726 for Marv, 700 for Rome. It's really just the touchdowns. But, like, everything else screams that Rome Odunze is just as good, still drastically outproducing Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, who's been injured a little bit, Xavier Legette, of course, another good receiver in the class. Very good class, very underrated, but I think all these guys are going to be viable options going forward.
All right, man. And then you got some of those lower names, right? The Pearsall getting in the action. You got Jalen Coker, Devon Vele.
McMillan also been very good down the stretch.
Yeah, those are lower names. I'm not talking about elite guys. Keon Coleman getting in the mix. This was a really good receiver class. Marvin Harrison Jr.
It's tough out here for Marv right now.
It's tough out here for Marv. It is, and this is, let this be a lesson. As talented as The Jeffersons and the Chases, they don't come often, man. And when they do come, it's probably followed by a very good situation that will help them be even better than what they are.
Yep.
I'm watching Marv, and I know people are like, oh, I'm still in on him being a quality wide receiver down the line. I am. But this expectation that he's this generational, once in a lifetime, better than his father, the clear-cut wide receiver, one in this class, a top 10 dynasty asset. People, JRich, traded not one, not two, 3+ first-round picks for him in August. If you don't believe me, go to Dynasty Daddy, pull up the old trade finder. Look at what people were doing to acquire one player. He, in my opinion, has been the biggest bust of the 24 season. The biggest. Bigger than Pitts, bigger than CJ Stroud. He has been the biggest bust. To be drafted in the first round and to give you this type of production. CMC, I mean, sure, he busted, but you ain't had him all year. Like,
But the problem was you drafted him for a long time at 1 because you weren't sure he's gonna come back, and then all of a sudden he's just not.
But you know what? That burn is fine. The hopium burn of a rookie receiver inside of the top 12 picks is a burn that you can't get over. That is, you can't go to the clinic, take a pill, and not have sex for a week and be okay. This is the burn that sticks for a long time, right? It sticks for a very, very long time. Taking a player like this that high. I think he's going to be. I think he can be a fine receiver. He. Let me say this: he feels more T. Higgins than he feels Jamar Chase.
Yes, and I think that the funny part, Ray, is if you said Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to have a career like T. Higgins, people would be so pissed. But T. Higgins is actually good, and especially the way T. Higgins wins, like Marv could parallel in that way a lot. Just be a touchdown threat, 1,000-yard receiver, which, I mean, he's not quite on track for right now, but he can definitely get there. It's just, for whatever reason, him and Kyler have not worked out. I think the problem is like, what's going to change for them?
Nothing.
Is it the OC? Is it, is Gannon gone? Like, I think the coaching staff has done a pretty good job with this roster. Maybe you could make the case that the passing game hasn't quite been where it needs to be, but James Conner's been great for this team. They've been winning games. Like, they're competitive. They're obviously out of the playoffs now, but Marv, I don't know, man. People said in the chat, the tape has been disappointing as well. It's not like it's just
it ain't just Kyler.
Kyler's a part of it.
Kyler's a part of it.
Marv as well.
It's not just Kyler. And the funny thing is, we had this conversation, JRich, at the beginning of the year. How many yards does Kyler throw for? And we were like, does he get his first 4,000-yard season? And we were like, absolutely.
He can't do it, man.
He's right at 3,200, so he's not going to hit 4K again. His average yards per attempt, his career, it's about 7 yards down. That's his average, about 7 yards. That's every year, and he's never eclipsed over 26 touchdowns. To your point, what's going to change? What is going to change? And, if you started Trey McBride, what a letdown. He did nothing.
Yeah. Once again,
the Cardinals go to overtime, and Trey McBride face plants. Marvin Harrison, 30 yards. What is it? Is it these guys? Is it Kyler? Is it the offense? It's not good. It's not good. It's not good, Jay.
It's everything, right? Like, Kyler comes out and says, oh, don't worry, Trey's going to get in the end zone. And I think from whoever found this numbers, that 3 for 20 was the worst game he's had since like 2023. So it's going back over a whole season that he's had a game this bad. And we know how good Trey McBride is, but it's like crazy to think that of all the games for him to have a bad game, it was against the Panthers. Yeah. And they still put up 30 points and went to overtime.
Yeah. Let's get DJ Dallas in the end zone. Let's do that. Let's continue to do that. On the other side of the ball, Jay,
Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson out there.
He's played like a top 10-ish quarterback the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks of the season. Bryce Young, 17 for 26, 158, 2 touchdowns. They win the game 36-30. Put the Arizona Cardinals out of playoff contention. Chuba Hubbard, 25 for 152 and 2. Bryce Young, 5 for 68 and 1.
What the hell was that?
Bryce out here. Bell cow Bryce at 122 pounds out here giving you RB1 production on the week when you needed it most. Where's Bryce had to be he's got to be a top 12 quarterback on the week. 68-1 on the ground.
He was like, I think he was top 4. He was really high. He might have even been higher than that.
This has probably been my favorite story of the season. This one has been my favorite story because when shit hit the fan for A-Rich, what did we say? If you can move A-Rich for Bryce Young, I would do it. I said, move him for Bryce Young. We said, if we thought there would be another one of these guys to get like a starter job, if the team were done with it, would it be Bryce or A-Rich? We said it would be Bryce Young. I like what they're doing. And they're going to continue to put pieces around Bryce. Like, A-Rich threw the ball 11 times, man. 11. I love you, A-Rich. You got me some Topo Chico, but throwing the ball 11 times, like, that just is not going to cut it long.
6 passes.
Okay. What do you think about Bryce Young? Where are you at with Bryce Young, man? Like, moving forward, can he be Drew Brees? Can he be one of those? I'm not saying he's in
now we're really getting into the fantasy talk here.
That type of quarterback. You know what I'm talking about. Just a surgeon from the pocket. I mean, look at Adam Thielen. I mean, Adam Thielen out there doing the Selly celebration. I mean, that was an underrated Selly, too. That was an underrated Adam Thielen celebration. That was dope. But look at how good he's been for these David Moore. Who the hell is David? I'll give you $100 if you tell me what college David Moore went to. If you tell me what conference he went to. Conference.
I'm going to say the Pac-12. Sounds like a Pac-12 guy.
I don't even know. I don't know myself, Jay.
But he was drafted by Seattle, wasn't he?
I hope it was not the Pac-12. Before. But what are your thoughts on Bryce while I look this up?
I mean, Bryce has been great. We've been saying it. I think it's just they had to figure out their personnel. And that's what it really seemed like to me. That's the biggest issue is that they brought in Deontay. They tried to make it work with him. Clearly, Deontay is an issue because we didn't even talk about it, but he was waived yet again. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, how did the Ravens get him for only a 6th round pick swap? And this guy was on the team for 2 weeks and then called it quits. And what's crazy, Ray, is we'll find out today, but apparently he's going to be claimed. And the 2 teams that are apparently trying to claim him are the Chiefs and the Chargers, right? So 2 potential playoff teams in the AFC. Again, is he going to make an impact? Who the hell knows with this guy at this point? But he's apparently going to be claimed off of waivers by somebody. At least that was a report from last night. But Bryce has been very, very good. Can he be, that Drew Brees level? That's hard to say because I think they're still going to lean on the run. And Canales kind of made that clear in the offseason. They found their running back. They found their running game, and they've been great with it. And it's opened things up for Bryce a ton. They've been able to run the ball effectively. He's been great in play action. We've seen now that Heisman Bryce, mobility in the pocket, scramble a little bit, make plays out of structure, and he's been very, very good. The problem is for fantasy is like they got to get a few pieces, and then maybe he can be pretty good, like that top 12 range. You're just hoping he's Tua, right? I think that's what you're hoping for. You're hoping he's Tua. He can be a back-end top 12 quarterback. And
I think that's fair, Jay.
Is there some rushing upside that we're not going to get from Tua?
I think that's a very fair career archetype hope is Tua. Yeah. Can he be Tua?
Just follow in the footsteps of an Alabama quarterback, right? He's much more mobile, better in the pocket, very accurate. Again, playmakers aren't there for him yet, but that's
let me give you a couple of would you rathers.
Let
me give you a couple of would you rathers. Would you rather Bryce Young or Geno Smith? And moving forward, not week 17, moving forward, Bryce Young or Geno Smith?
Man, I think it might be Geno Smith. Are we playing for now or later? Because I
just said not now. I just said not week 17.
Yeah, but
moving forward.
No. But Geno's going to be the QB next year.
January 1st, 2025. Would you rather have Bryce Young on your dynasty roster or Geno Smith?
I will take Geno Smith.
Okay. Anthony Richardson or Bryce Young?
Bryce Young.
Michael Penix or Bryce?
Bryce. Well, I take Penix.
Stafford or Aaron Rodgers or Bryce?
Bryce over both.
Russ or Bryce?
Bryce.
Bryce or Bo?
Ooh. I'll say Bryce.
Okay. I'm not going to ask anymore. All the other ones would be the other quarterbacks, no doubt. Bryce or Sam Darnold?
I think the answer is Bryce, but I'd be selling high on Darnold if I could.
Selling high on Darnold.
I'd be betting that he is not a Minnesota quarterback, and if he's not a Minnesota quarterback,
you really don't think with this success, and I'm just this feels different than San Francisco to me. To me, it felt very easy that it was going to be Brock Purdy, which we're going to talk about next. It was very easy to see that this guy and Trey Lance, who didn't really do shit in college and couldn't get on the field, that one was a little easier to be like, I'm putting my cards in that they're going to stick with Brock Purdy. I'm not saying you really don't think that with the success that Minnesota is having and has found with Darnold that in their mind they're just sitting back being like, yeah, we'll just let that guy walk next year and we'll just go with Jay. I mean, they control McCarthy, right? They don't have to trade him.
No.
I mean, we're seeing NFL teams, they're talking about Kirk Cousins, man. What's that, $60, $70 million?
Yeah, they're going to
eat? Like, yeah. You don't think they pay Sam Darnold $45 to come back and do it again? And if he doesn't work out, fuck it, we'll got McCarthy in our back pocket. Like, I just don't think that they are going to willingly just boot him to the curb just because we've got McCarthy. I don't think so, Jay.
No, I hear what you're saying, but what you're saying, $40 million, but the number is probably closer to 120 or 160, right? It's not just
But you know the total number's all a facade. You know that.
No, but okay, you can say that, but he has taken this team to 13-2. If you're telling me you don't think Sam Darnold is a $100 million quarterback on the open market, guaranteed, so like Kirk Cousins, 2.5 or so years guaranteed, I believe that. I believe you're probably going to have to commit about $100 million to Sam Darnold over 2.5 seasons guaranteed, much like Kirk Cousins got. And if you're the Vikings, you don't want to absorb that cost. You just don't. And I think that's the problem. And so for me, the bet that I'd be making is while I like Sam Darnold in Minnesota, I'm not willing to bet that he's going to be the answer for the next season. And if there's people who do believe that, I'll happily sell them on the fact that maybe Sam Darnold will be on the team next year. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you're still giving me a quarterback in Bryce Young, who's going to be the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. And in theory, this team can only get better because when Adam Thielen is your best receiver, and while he's been great, I think there are upgrades that can be made. A healthy Xavier Legette, another year of Jalen Coker, maybe Jatavian Sanders comes back. We know Chuba Hubbard's going to be good. And Bryce hopefully walking into a season with a lot of confidence and hopefully some new playmakers as well. Versus Sam Darnold, his situation can only stay the same. It's not getting better, and it can get significantly worse.
Hector says, I think going back to the Falcons are regretting paying Kirk 100%. So why would the Vikings want to have that much dead money if he flops? I think in Rhonda Commander, shout out to Rhonda, franchise Darnold not letting him walk.
They could do that.
I think what you said at the beginning of the show is probably true, Jay. There's a lot of time for the narrative to change on Sam Darnold.
To shape, yeah. Oh, lots.
For him. For Sam Darnold, there's a lot. He goes out there and let's just say they collapse down the stretch. They lose these next two. They're one and done. It's not even a question. He's gone, right?
Yeah. Bigger question. And next season will be graded on the last 2 games of the season, whatever they are, and wherever they are.
The bigger question, and Jay, you know, you, my friend, sometimes are a little out over your skis, right? We all know that.
Sometimes.
But we love you nonetheless. But sometimes, sir, you have some calls and they seem a little wild at first, and then you get to the end and you look and you're like, goddamn, old JRich, old Skip Richards got it. Brock Purdy, Jay. Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy. Talk about him. What is there to say about Brock Purdy? There was a quote, a tweet that said, Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan have both been head coaches for 8 years. Sean McVay has just completed his 7th winning season out of 8, I believe it's 7 out of 8.
Probably, yeah.
And Kyle Shanahan has 4 losing seasons out of his 8. And basically saying that McVay's a better coach than Kyle Shanahan.
Much better,
Brock Purdy, I mean, the 49ers have been limping around all season. He threw a game-sealing interception in that one, going to Juwan Jennings, even though Deebo Samuel was wide the hell open. What are your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts, man?
I mean, they lost to the Dolphins, who we know are not very good. 26 for 40, 65%, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And not to mention the throw to George Kittle that was tipped at the line, having all the 49ers fans wondering, is this guy tall enough, right? And I even saw people quote tweeting with pictures of Sam Darnold's height, 6'3". Oh, that'll play. That's better than old Brock Purdy. But the narrative has been $60 million, Ray. The narrative has been more money than Dak Prescott was guaranteed, because this is the quarterback that not just took them to the NFC Championship game, but took them to the Super Bowl. Right? And he's a Super Bowl quarterback. You know where he's headed, Ray? He's headed all the way to Jared Goff land. And guess what? Ben Johnson's not going to be his OC when he lands in a new spot. He may be an okay quarterback, but he is going right down that Jared Goff path where they had a great team, they went to Super Bowl, and the team realizes he is not good enough, and they go and find another quarterback.
Why do players keep doing these food advertisement things? Because they just turn into very exploitable memes. You got Brock Purdy here without CMC putting on the Applebee's jersey. You got
Debo the manager next year.
Look at this one. Debo, when the season is over, he turns into damn Cleveland version of LeBron James. But no, there's
real concerns over what you pay this guy, for sure. But to be fair to the Niners, maybe the price has gone down enough they'd be willing to pay it.
Come on, man. The disrespect here. Brock Purdy with the game on the line. That
Tebow throw is still the worst throw
of Tim Tebow launching this ball in Denver. Oh man.
How is that even for practice? That is abysmal.
Yeah, man. Here's my question though, Jay. This is my real question to football fans. Where does it get better? You don't like the quarterbacks in the rookie draft. You don't like them. Cam Ward sucks. Shedeur Sanders, he's a bad teammate and a bad kid. We don't want him either. Now we're talking about Sam Darnold. Like, just think about what we're saying. Where does the help come from? Tell me where the QB reinforcements come from. We're going to give Mac Jones a starting job. We're going to trot JRich out there for another season.
That's who Shanahan wanted, right?
Bring him back. Does this mean Karen Rodgers has a guaranteed job next year? Derek, if you don't want, let me tell you, fans don't want. They don't want Purdy. Dallas Cowboys fans want Dak Prescott replaced, right? So let's get him out of there. Jets want a new QB. Giants and Raiders need a new QB. The Saints want a new quarterback. That's 6
they do.
Right off the rip, all right? That's 6 off the rip. Who else is looking for a new QB of the future? Cleveland, 7. Tennessee, 8. Indianapolis, 9. That's 9
Arizona?
Quarterbacks. Who?
Arizona?
We're not going to go to Arizona. We're not doing that.
Houston?
Don't stop. We're not doing Houston. Stop it. We're not doing Houston and Arizona. Off the rip, we got 9 spots. 9 spots that are in need of their franchises say they need a QB. Oh, in San Francisco, now 10.
San Francisco, yeah.
Where do they come from? You want to fill one with Darnold? Cool. Got it. Cam Ward and Shedeur, there's 3. Now we still got 7 spots left. That's the problem. There aren't enough QBs to go around. There aren't. There are not. I still see people, Jay, mocking Jalen Milroe as a top 10 pick in the 2025 NFL draft.
Has he even declared yet? He hasn't, right?
Doesn't even matter. He could reclare, doesn't matter. Go to declares. It does not matter. He's not a top 10 quarterback. He's not a top 10 pick. Not a top 10 quarterback. He's not a top 10 pick. Where does the help come from? You want Purdy gone? Kick him. Cool. Darnold's there. Darnold can't play in San Francisco and New Orleans and Dallas and Indianapolis and Cleveland. You want Kirk Cousins? Cleveland fans?
Definitely not.
That's one of the rumors. One of the rumors is Stefanski going to go get Kirk.
Yeah, because they're going to cut him, right? Yeah, they're going to cut him.
And Stefanski,
$0. You'll take the Russell Wilson deal.
Playing in Cleveland, and he can't throw the ball from here to across the street. You saw the baby shower, the baby announcement. He couldn't even throw his own balloon of his seed directly into the thing to make it explode, man. What are we doing?
So there's 2 things, right? One, very poor planning by the 49ers. Very poor, right? They went all in to win. They didn't prioritize quarterback because they thought Brock Purdy was the one they wanted and they needed. And now it seems like maybe he's not the guy that they want.
Thank you, Robert Thomas. Sorry, just thank you, Robert Thomas. There's barely 20 good QBs in the NFL, but everybody wants to be a QB.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we didn't talk about Daniel Jones. He could be an option, right?
Oh, God.
Mac Jones, as you mentioned, could be an option.
Listen to what we're talking. Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, Sam Darnold. Those are
Cardell Jones
you're
still doing
proposing.
Things? Well, but again, this is where I have been on this train since the Dak contract. And I said to you, I don't think that teams should be prioritizing signing quarterbacks to these big deals that potentially don't deserve it. And Brock Purdy was one of those players. We know who the good quarterbacks in the league are. And if you aren't sure that you have a top quarterback in the league, I don't believe that you should do that. Now, while I do agree that Dallas had to pay Dak, and Dak is deserving of the contract because he is one of the better QBs in the league, it didn't work out for them because they got hurt. But even the Cowboys now are like, damn, imagine if we had a few more dollars to add to the roster to have a better team.
For Cooper Rush. That's the narrative
for Cooper Rush, but
not even Dak. For Cooper
But Ray,
Rush.
the problem is Cooper Rush is going to end the season with more wins than Dak Prescott. And that is a problem. That is a big problem. Because that goes to show you that it's not necessarily the quarterback leading them to victories. It is the team. And the team is what matters. And this is why I've always said, in some ways, you can try and play like the Bills and like the Chiefs. But why are you playing like the Bills and the Chiefs when you don't have Mahomes and Allen? Construct a roster a different way. Do things differently to get different results. Otherwise, you're just playing from behind.
Can you pull up the MVP odds for me real quick while we talk about Garrett Wilson and his situation? And shout out to my boy, man. Shout out to my boy, FF Snog, man. Sent us a Merry Christmas gift right here, man. He does good work.
Thank you.
Does good work, man. Said Merry Christmas, gents. Keep up the hard work. We always supporting, man. And I love that when content creators support other content creators. And then right here at Ray G, that's a dope lid, dude. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. The Stetson Open Road cowboy hat, man. I'm more of an open road guy. I've got some traditional 10-gallon hats, Jay, but I'm more of an open road. Give me that straight bill.
What makes it an open road? Oh, it's the straight bill.
Well,
it's the straight bill?
The crown. The crown is different, and then the brim and all of that stuff. But yeah, appreciate you, man. Who are we talking about? Where was I going? Garrett Wilson.
Are we going to Josh Allen or Garrett Wilson?
Oh, yeah. What are the MVP odds real quick? Where's Allen at?
Well, Allen did struggle a little bit.
He did struggle.
And Drake almost got him.
Drake did almost
had him in
get
the first half, not going to lie. But Josh Allen, minus 550, still the MVP.
Still the MVP.
Even though Lamar beat down the Steelers. Beat them down.
Yeah, Lamar played great.
Awful.
Lamar played great. Lamar played great. Let's talk about Garrett Wilson quickly. And the Jets lost again. Jets lost. Devontae Adams got his, though. 7 for 68, one touchdown. Garrett Wilson had 6 for 54, 7 targets, was tied for Tyler Conklin with second on the team in targets behind Devontae Adams 13. But after the game, Garrett Wilson was not happy, JRich. Garrett Wilson was not happy. Garrett Wilson went on to voice his frustrations about the game and the game theory, and he talked about how he would love to be more involved in the offense. He was asked why he wasn't more involved until late. He said, hey, it's out of my control. People see things differently. And this is on the back of a couple of weeks ago, there were some rumblings that Garrett Wilson would ask for a trade in the offseason. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And there's a lot of people from the Jets saying as long as Rodgers and Adams are here, it's not going to get any better. The Jets need to find a different nucleus to fix this problem. What are your thoughts on this situation with Garrett Wilson? And might we see one of the young talented wide receivers hit the open market this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem, right? The ball is going to Adams, and to be fair to Rodgers and Adams, they're moving the ball down the field. That throw to Adams was ridiculous for anyone who didn't see it. That throw from Aaron Rodgers to Adams was absolutely insane. I didn't even think Rodgers could make that throw anymore. But yeah, you talk about Garrett Wilson. He's a player that should leave, right? The quarterback for the future.
He can't do anything. It's not up to him whether he leaves or stays.
Well, not next season, but again, he doesn't have to re-sign, right? They're going to pick up his 5th-year option. Absolutely. It's going to happen. But after 2 years, he can obviously leave because the quarterback situation is uncertain. And Garrett Wilson's an extremely talented wide receiver. What he ends up doing next season is going to be interesting because they still have Adams. It seems like potentially there's been a repair in the status of Aaron Rodgers coming back to the Jets. It does seem like there could be potential for him to return. Now, we'll see because Woody Johnson's been checking those Madden ratings, and I'm sure they're not so good for
him. Man, he got flamed for that one, didn't he?
As he should. As he should.
But remind the
Jerry
people who missed that part of the story.
Yeah, I mean, so Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, nixed a trade for Jerry Jeudy in the offseason. And we actually heard about this weeks ago, like a long time ago now. And then Diana Rossini came back and said the reason why the trade was nixed was because owner Woody Johnson was not so happy with one Jerry Judy's Madden rating. Must have seen his zone coverage reading ability and said, no, sir, that's not good enough for me. Can't have that player on my team. And sad Charmon for Jerry Jeudy and old DTR this week. Not a good performance from DTR and nothing from Jerry Jeudy. But I think Garrett Wilson should leave. This team has been awful the whole time he's been there. They've never really had a quarterback. The offensive coordinator changes every single season. The head coach has changed multiple times as well. It's just a situation that you want out of, whether you're Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, like all these guys should want to leave, go to better situations because they are available to them. They just got to wait their time. But I think the Garrett Wilson will leave when the time comes.
Tyreek Hill said he needs more reps with Tua. That's a quote from Tyreek. They asked why his performance has been so bad.
He did take accountability for that.
He said he needs some more reps. Dropping the goddamn balls, Tyreek Hill. Kind of a letdown in week 16. Jay, hit the music, man. Hit the music.
We're done?
We're done.
Man, no love for Drake May. No love for Joe Burrow. No love for Caleb Williams.
Well, talk about him real quick. Drake May, they
lost. The last time Washington won at the buzzer, that team didn't win a game the rest of the season. At least they haven't so far. Not good news for Philly. But Drake May looked good. Ray, that throw to Kayshon Boutte? Come on.
Yeah, Drake May was dope. Caleb Williams was awesome too. I mean, we kind of talked about it through Romo Dunze, 4 for 77, DJ Moore 7 for 68, Keenan Allen, old man Keenan Allen, J-Mo running fast.
Too.
We should have the best play on the weekend. Did you see the play? The Lions play?
The trick play?
Yeah, the trick play. We gotta show that. That was the best play of the weekend, man. That was the best.
That play was ridiculous.
Freaking play of the weekend.
And I assume you heard that the sideline yelled out ball too, right? Like that was reported after the fact as well.
Oh, they did. I did not
yelled
see the
ball.
Oh, they yelled ball.
So they do the little fake thing with them falling and all that stuff, but apparently the whole sideline from the Lions was like ball, 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 to again add to the allure of the play to make them think the ball was on the ground.
Yeah,
which
this was
ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah, that was a dope ass play, man. That was freaking cool to see. And the Lions, J-Mo balling out in the game, faster than everybody. Who else did you say we didn't talk about? Joe Burrow. I mean, how good is he? What is there to
we got to replace that. We got to replace that sounder at the end of the intro.
How good is he, Joe Burrow?
We need to get rid of that.
It's so good. We
won't even say who we're talking about since the people won't remember.
All right, we appreciate y'all. Weeks 1 preseason all the way through week 16. Y'all tapping in, having some fun with us. No show on Wednesday. Enjoy time with your family and friends and enjoy the holiday. JRich, you enjoy your Friday off. You'll be with family as well, but I will be here. I will be live on Friday, recapping all the games from Christmas Day, looking ahead to the next college football slate and NFL slate. So make sure y'all wake up on Friday with us, and a special announcement on Friday as well. So make sure they're there, because next week we're giving away a bunch of stuff. Mock draft coming out. I think we're going to do that tomorrow, Christmas Eve. Mock draft coming out Christmas Eve. And we've got some more rookie content on the way. So stay locked in. Anything you want to say to people before we get out of here? And JRich, again, thank you for honoring your bet, baby. What you got for the folks before we go?
Nothing, man. We got the Packers tonight. So hopefully you got Josh Jacobs on your roster so you can win a fantasy championship, take you to the promised land. We got the Packers by, how much are you taking the Packers by today, Ray? 20? 30? Against old Spency
What's the spread?
Rattler?
9.5? What's the spread?
Dude, it's 14.
14?
Yeah. So do you got Pittsburgh or KC? That's the other one I want to ask you about.
KC. No Pickens. It's a problem. No Pickens is a problem.
Pickens
is a problem.
Could be back, but it seems like it's unlikely. Yeah.
No
see, I got KC. I got Baltimore against Houston, and I got Seattle over Chicago. But Packers are covering tonight, I think.
There it is. Y'all enjoy your holidays. Wake y'all
Merry
asses
Christmas.
up on Friday. Yeah. There it is. Wake y'all asses up on Friday with me. No Jay, just Ray G. So I'll see y'all then. Enjoy. We out. Peace.